Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 168 of the Eyes Free Sports podcast. My name is Greg Lindberg. On this episode, our guest is a gentleman from the great state of Texas. And this guy is a very accomplished adaptive athlete in multiple sports, including beep baseball and blind soccer. He also helped launch a blind soccer program in Texas. And in addition to sports, has had a pretty unique career and also some very interesting hobbies outside of sports. So let's go ahead now and get rolling with episode 168 of the Eyes Free Sports podcast. Okay, so my guest here on this episode of the podcast is Mark Slavin. And Mark is very accomplished and experienced in both beep baseball as well as blind soccer and has been a leader, I would say, in the adaptive sports arena. Mark, welcome to Eyes Free Sports.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Appreciate you taking the time to do this. So why don't we just kind of kick things off like I typically do with guests, just kind of talk about where you were born and your formative years, Mark.
Born in Texas, born in Austin, Texas. Grew up all over the state. My father was in the Air Force, so not every Air Force base, but most of them. So we never really left Texas. Eventually, he went overseas to Vietnam, but we were in Texas the entire time. So I spent elementary in El Paso and Lubbock and Austin, did middle school back in the Panhandle in Clarendon, Texas, and then did most of my high school in North Texas around the Dallas area.
Gotcha. So did you ever attend a school for the blind? Or?
I did not. So I was not aware that I had retinitis pigmentosa until I was 26, as crazy as that sounds.
That is late. Yeah, late bloomer.
So as my eyesight the sight loss was progressing, there were a lot of things that mask it. So the first was I was nearsighted, and glasses corrected that. So once we discovered that, all other vision issues kind of got swept under the rug. So we're like, oh, he's nearsighted, he needs glasses. And then I started having trouble seeing at night. And again, that got swept under the rug. They're like, oh, well, you're just night blind. So my eyes were never checked. I never had a thorough examination outside of just your typical optometrist checking your prescription. So it wasn't until years later where I started to have issues with, I'd go to set something down on a countertop and I'd completely miss the counter. And I'm like, what on earth? And I was like, for a long time, I just thought I was the most unlucky and clumsiest person on the planet. Well, it turned out I just couldn't see.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah. Once you found out, right?
Yeah. So I'd had about 13 minor car accidents. Fortunately, they were with inanimate objects. No one was ever hurt. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
And so finally, I took myself to see ophthalmologist. They sent me to the Austin retina specialist. They ran some tests, and I went back to the ophthalmologist, and that's when she diagnosed me with retinitis pigmentosa, gave me a handful of things to avoid, and told me eventually I'd be blind. And that was pretty much it. And I was, 26 years old. So I kind of walked out of there going, no, that's not right.
Right. The denial. Yep.
Yeah. So that lasted for about 10 years.
Oh, geez. Wow.
So, I mean, I knew I was losing my eyesight. I wasn't in total denial, but I spent a long time trying to find a cure.
Sure.
I just knew there had to be something. I even went to Beijing, China, and was going to have this procedure done where they do this grafting procedure where they reroute the blood flow in the sclera back to the retina to try to stimulate cell growth. And apparently they had done it on a few people. I researched it for about 2 years before committing. But after I got there, everything in my being said, don't do this. So I backed out.
Ooh,
and it's probably a good thing.
Wow. So you weren't quite on the operating table yet? I mean, you
No,
were,
no,
yeah.
no. I got close, but
Sure. Wow. So what age did that happen when you were about to do that?
that was my late 30s. I was probably 39.
Right. Right. Got you. And then, yeah, so kind of fast forwarding to today. So what's kind of your level of vision at this point?
So I have no usable vision in my right eye, and in my left eye, I still have a window. It's probably roughly somewhere between 5 and 8 degrees. To put it in a perspective for people who can see, I usually say it's kind of like looking through a toilet paper tube. My acuity is still pretty good depending on lighting and time of day and how tired I am. So if I'm fresh, ready to go, sometimes I can still pick up texts and shapes of letters. Of course, it's a lot of scanning to pick up those images, but I can still see the details and colors. It's just in a very tight, small window. But the human mind is amazing. My brain does a really good job of spatial mapping and filling in the gaps for me. So there's times where I feel like I can still see, even though I can only see that little teeny tiny bit. I move around like I can see fully, which is really confusing for people because they watch me move through space and they don't understand how I'm able to do that with seeing so little. But it's not any, magic trick. It's just the body adapting.
Right. Right. Great perspective. Yeah. So before we get into sports, as far as your professional career, any career highlights, anything you want to mention there?
Well, my career has been crazy, and I don't know if it had anything to do with, not knowing I was losing my eyesight and then figuring out late in life. So school wasn't my favorite thing. I
Yeah.
was I was I was one of those kids that did just enough so I could get by. I was like, so what do I need for a C? Just so I can get out of here. That's all I'm going to do.
Check the
And
box.
so
Yeah.
I did a little bit of college. Really wasn't my thing. I went to trade school. I became a auto mechanic. I really enjoyed people bringing things that were broken to me, and I was able to fix them. That was really
Hmm.
cool. I became an undercar specialist. I was fascinated with geometry, so I loved the suspension of the car, how the car drove. So that became my area of expertise for a while. And then when my first child was born, I didn't want to go back to work. I wanted to hang out with him 24/7. So I switched gears and went and took some courses in early childhood and then started working in early learning. I was an assistant teacher, then a lead teacher, became a site director, multi site director, area manager, project director, so on. So I just kind of moved my way up through the ranks and really thought that's where I would end my career. But as I got further up into the corporate world, my disability became an issue. I ran into some discrimination there and kind of got forced out for not being able to drive. So I had to retool again. So I went back to school, uh, became a licensed massage therapist in Texas. Did that for 5 years, but this is also late in the game, and massage therapy is not. Let me rephrase that. It's a young person's job. It is very, very taxing on the body.
Sure.
So I'm getting into it, at the young age of almost 50. and and I'm not, I'm in pretty good shape, but 6 hours of massage will wear anybody out.
Yeah. And on your feet, I would assume, for a
So
lot of that time. And
yeah. So
mm,
I did that for about 5 years and then I hung it up. And so now I'm semi-retired. We talked a little bit about I'm currently writing some curriculum, which it does two things. One, I love music and I love writing, so it gives me that outlet. Two, it's kind of helping me get a foot back in the door of the early childhood world because this is a music enrichment program for preschool. So I'm hoping that takes off and I get to be part of that world again because that really was a good fit for me. It allowed me to use all my skill set all at once. And, not everybody loves kids, but I do. You can put 70 screaming kids in a room and it doesn't faze me, but I can tell you which one is crying because they're actually hurt, which one's crying because they're mad. It's just, I think that's part of the sight loss is just my hearing's so acute. It's just I can tell what's going on everywhere around me, which made me a good fit, I think, in the early childhood world.
Right, right. That's awesome. And do you play any instruments?
I do. I play guitar. I mean, I guess I kind of play ukulele. I just kind of taught myself how to play these instruments. The
Nice.
main reason I play guitar was because I like writing songs. And so I wanted to be able to be a better songwriter. And I kind of felt like playing an instrument would help with that. So I've been playing guitar for about 30 years and I've been writing songs since I could speak. So, and
Mm,
it's just something I do for fun, process emotion, get it all out on paper and move on to the next song.
that's awesome. Yeah. You got anything on YouTube or anything online that folks could find?
I do. So I have a YouTube site. It's called Mr. Blue Skies. That's kind of my handle on all my social media stuff. And then TikTok. So it goes back and forth. So on TikTok and YouTube, I do music, but I also do a bit called The Blind Perspective where I just talk about visual impairment. It's all positive. I had a whole series with my cane. My cane's name is Moses because he parts sea of people. So I do. Moses has his own series.
That's awesome. Love that.
So yeah. So that kind of thing. And then I am up for the 2026 Texas Country Music Awards Songwriter of the Year. So I'll find out in November. And I don't really care if I win, but there's also an honorable mention involved. So I figure even if I get an honorable mention, it'd be kind of cool.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, best of luck on that. Definitely keep me posted
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
for sure. And yeah, I'll certainly include links to those pages you mentioned too in the show notes so folks can find you out there as far as your music and other content.
Absolutely.
All right, so then turning our attention to sports. So I always like to ask, as a kid, did you play a lot of sports growing up?
I did. I played everything. Like I tell people, the only reason I even survived high school was because of athletics. If somebody said, "Sorry, we're canceling sports," I would have been a high school dropout immediately.
Wow.
I played in school. I played football, basketball, track, tennis, and golf. Outside of school, I was soccer and baseball.
Wow. So that's like maybe 7 sports, if my math is right. That's
Yeah,
quite a
yeah.
list. Yeah. And did you have a favorite among those growing up?
Soccer was always a favorite,
Yep.
without a doubt.
Yep. Yep.
I
Very cool.
started playing that when I was 6, and just continued to play. I was playing on the North Texas Premier League with sighted people when I could barely see anything. No one, my team knew I had visual problems, but the other team didn't. So we just kept it to ourselves and we kind of, made accommodations. I played on defense. That way my goalkeeper could kind of direct me if I got out of position.
Very cool. Yeah. Definitely a unique environment to be in that case.
Yeah.
So then when it comes to adaptive sports for the blind, how did you kind of initially discover, that this whole world existed out there?
By the time I hit 40, I really had no business being on a soccer pitch with sighted people. One, I was going to get hurt, or two, I was going to seriously hurt somebody else. But I'm hard headed and I love playing sports. So I wanted to keep playing. So I started looking for opportunities to continue to play. And really, what I wanted was to continue to play soccer. So I hopped online. I started doing some research and I was like, is there soccer for the blind? Is there soccer for partially sighted? And there was, but it wasn't here in the United States. It was all overseas. And then that was my first contact with the USABA back in 2008. And 2008, between 2008 and 2010, we had a lot of conversations. I was trying to force their hand to helped me start blind soccer in the U.S., but it just wasn't the time. And they were happy to support any endeavors I was going to try to pursue out here in Texas, but they had no intentions of doing anything at that time other than goalball. So I kind of just let it go and then just kind of moved on and focused more on my career and kind of let sports go to the wayside at that time.
Right. Gotcha. So as far as beat baseball, I know you've definitely played that. Was that kind of before the blind soccer?
No, it was after. So I had pretty much kind of hung up the thought of ever playing soccer again. And I had moved to the Keller area, which was just north of Fort Worth. And I was getting reconnected with a vocational rehab counselor from the Fort Worth office for the blind. And we were talking about, me starting a new job out here and assistive technology I might need with my new job. And I don't remember who I was talking to from that office, but they said, "Hey, do you know anything about beat baseball?" And I'm like, what the hell is beat baseball? And then they explained it to me and I was like, "You're kidding." So of course I look it up and I'm just like, "Oh, this looks pretty cool." And then I got connected with the Lone Star Roadrunners. At the time, the pitcher and coach was Graham. Met him, his family, his father. Of course, none of them were blind, but they obviously just had a passion for blind sports and serving the blind community. And it was something I hadn't experienced as a blind person, not just the sports, but just being around other people with low vision and blindness. I hadn't had that. I was like the token blind guy everywhere I went. And anytime we saw another blind person, it was like spotting a unicorn. So I was just so I was like, wait a minute, there's 10 of us all in one place? Like, what's happening?
This is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to one practice and I was hooked. I was just like, can we do this every day? Can somebody pay me to play beat baseball, please? Yeah.
The bug bit you, and that was it, right?
That was it. Oh, it was awesome. I was in it, hook, line, and sinker. I was scared for about 30 minutes. And then after that, I just didn't care. It was so much fun. I was like, they're not going to let me hit that fence. So
That's amazing.
So yeah.
Yeah. And as far as like specific tournaments, or I know you played in the World Series, any moments that really come to mind in beat ball?
I love the structure of the sport. It's just basically you spend the whole year just preparing for the World Series. Texas is so fortunate, at least back then, there were so many teams, which gave us opportunities to do regional play. Houston, Austin, SFA, Tyler, College Station, they could all come up and we all had opportunities to play tournaments together, small local tournaments before the World Series. So I loved that. It was great. The camaraderie was amazing. If another team showed up with not enough players, and they just put them on different teams. And so it was just basically opportunities to play. Of course, everybody wants to win, but most importantly, everybody just wanted to play. But the 2016 World Series in Ames, Iowa was a pivotal moment in my life. It really put the oxygen back in my lungs and made me just feel alive as somebody and not a burden, not less than. It made me feel successful, made me feel a part of a group. It was just a beautiful thing. And anybody who's ever been to a World Series would probably tell you the same thing. It's just amazing seeing 200 men and women walk around with canes and guide dogs, all about to compete in the game of baseball. So, and as cool as all that was, the highlight of the World Series was that the majority of us were staying at the same hotel. So one night, about midway through the series, two pitchers, one was ours, Graham from the Lodestar Roadrunners, and Fonzie from the Bayou Heat from Houston, came outside, and all the other teams came out, and we split into two teams. Fonzie pitched to one, Graham pitched to the other, and we sat out in the parking lot of this hotel with wiffle balls and wiffle ball bats and a whole lot of beer and played like a 4-hour baseball game. If that's not crazy enough, the most beautiful part is when the cops showed up because somebody had called in a noise complaint. And in my head, I'm just thinking, what on earth is going through their minds as they roll up with this huge crowd of blind people playing wiffle ball in the parking lot of this hotel?
Wow. Wow. What a scene. What a picture.
But it was so much fun. I just thinking about it, I feel like I just played it again. So it was just a beautiful moment.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So to anyone listening to this, if you want to get together at some random hotel and play wiffle ball with a bunch of blind people, call me up. I'm in.
I've got his number, so they can hit me up too. Wow, that's awesome. But yeah, thinking back just personally too, 2017 in the West Palm Beach, Florida area was my first World Series, and just seeing some of these athletes competing at such a high level, I mean, was an eye-opener, pun intended. Like, it was so incredible. And like you said, just the camaraderie, and it's a family. The beatball community, blind sports communities in general, they are families.
Agreed.
So yeah, as far as the Lone Star Roadrunners, what's kind of the current status of the team? Is there still a group there? Or?
The Roadrunners had disbanded for a while. One of our players, Ozzy, he passed away many years back, and the team kind of stopped at that point. Ozzy's wife kind of maintains the name and the equipment. And I know they've done some demos and whatnot, but they really haven't come back together as a team to compete. I know a lot of the guys that played on that team have gone on to play with other groups throughout Texas. Some have gone down to Austin. Some have gone on to play with the Houston teams. So the name's still out there. And I think it's being held out there in honor of Ozzy, who is an amazing individual, amazing beat baseball player, but just more importantly, a beautiful man. But yeah, so that's kind of where it is right now. The last time I connected with Ronnie, so she was still using the name and still doing demos as Lodestar Roadrunners, but I don't think they've put a team back together yet.
Right. Gotcha. All right, so then in terms of blind soccer, so I know you did mention kind of the late 2000s, kicking around some ideas with USABA, and if I recall, it was probably about 10 years after that when USABA kind of jumped on board, with the blind soccer idea. Is that kind of an accurate timeline?
It is. I believe it was around 2018 that they were kind of starting to get things going. Pandemic showed up, put everything on pause. Around October of 2021, I had kind of pulled together an idea of doing blind soccer locally here. Ran across a guy that was a soccer coach and played soccer locally, Angel Olvera, and I tricked him into being a blind soccer coach with me. And so the two of us started North Texas Blind Soccer that later became Texas Blind Soccer.
Nice. Yeah. And what was kind of the motivation or inspiration to start that?
One was just I wanted to play. I had been watching videos on YouTube of the Paralympic teams, Brazil and Argentina, Turkey, Morocco, Japan, watching these players compete in the game. And I wanted it to be here. I wanted to be able to play it. And I wanted to see it grow as a sport that mirrored regular soccer, that there was teams and leagues and for different age groups. And I knew it was going to take time, but that was the initial drive was complete selfishness. I wanted to play soccer, but it quickly opened up into I have an opportunity to provide space for a lot of people to play soccer of all ages. So that's what Texas Blind Soccer turned into, which was a complete league for children and adults. Our youngest athlete when we first started was 3 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'll tell you his first name. First name was Maharshi. And I loved every kid that came out to play. Of course, Maharshi had a special place in my heart because he gave me the most crap out of all the kids out there. And he was hilarious, but he was so good. And over the course of 3 years, watching him evolve as a soccer player, and to just in my head, I was thinking, imagine what this kid is going to be able to do when he becomes 16, 17, 18 years old if he continues to play. And so really I was thinking long term, what the US could potentially do with blind soccer with these kids that are coming in that really get into it and want to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. And I guess I'm curious for those maybe interested in starting like a nonprofit or some kind of organization in blind sports. Do you have any tips, tricks on kind of the initial steps and promoting it and kind of launching something like that?
My biggest tip is don't wait for anybody. Just start doing it. Talk to people. The beautiful part about blind soccer is all you need is the ball. If you got a ball and you got some people that are interested, you can get started. Don't wait for the perfect space. Don't wait for to have walls for your field and all that. You can work around all that. You can do skills and drills and everything that'll translate to the pitch. Just don't wait, just start.
Yeah. So true. And then I know you did mention, so now it's the Texas Blind Soccer Association. And so is it, I assume it's like expanded kind of around the state?
It's still, as far as I know, localized to the North Texas area.
Gotcha.
We had done demos statewide and nationwide as Texas Blind Soccer when I was part of the organization up until uh, June or July of 2024. So I know that they're still doing practices. I don't believe they've held a tournament since our last tournament in 2024, but I haven't talked to them a lot. I don't know how much is going on. I do, because I was so involved in blind soccer for so long, I still get phone calls from people who are interested. And I always refer them back to Angel or to John Marquez with the Metro Blaze because they're another blind soccer group down in Fort Worth. So, and since they're both right here in the area, depending on where the individuals are, I always refer them to one or the other.
Right. Right. Gotcha. And then I'm curious, any moments, anything, on the pitch, playing blind soccer as an athlete or even as a coach that come to mind?
As a coach, it's always just a blast to be able to guide and support other people. As a player, I'm just a sport fanatic, so I love just having the opportunity to play. Um, it's amazing how much translates from playing soccer as a kid onto that pitch. And it's not so much just the exact skill set to skill set, but it's more of a mental thing.
That is good advice. Just, yeah, the mental wherewithal, kind of the desire, the passion, I think is a big part of it, right?
Yeah. No, it makes it a lot easier. And I guess as far as highlights, really it's the two tournaments we did. The first tournament, uh, the biggest highlight was the two concussions I received in the first tournament. So we, after, I guess it was the first half of game one of these things that are so something that the sighted world may not fully understand is when you play sport with your vision occluded, it takes a whole lot more energy than when you can play with your eyes. It's just like 10 times the amount of energy because you're concentrating, you're trying to feel and hear it all. And so it'll wear you down so fast. So, anyways, halftime's over, we're getting back on the field, and my legs feel like rubber. I feel like they want to fall out from under me, but I won't let them because I'm stubborn and I want to keep playing. And I hear our goalkeeper, which is our coach Angel, pick up the ball and shake it. So I knew he had the ball. And as soon as he shook it, I knew I needed to get upfield so he could throw it out. I could receive it and then start dribbling downfield to go on attack. What I didn't realize was I wasn't facing upfield, I was facing the wall. And in this facility we were playing in, these weren't half walls, these were full walls. So I'm 6'2", and the wall is probably 8 feet high around this soccer pitch. So I take off running full speed thinking I'm headed down the pitch, and I go face first into the wall. Of course, there was so much going on. The ref didn't see me. Angel didn't see me. So no one even got a chance to say stop before I just smack right into the wall. I took about 2 steps back, fell down flat on my back, and was just laying there going, oh my gosh. And somebody came over and they pulled my mask off, and I had split my nose, and they're like, what are you doing? Are you okay? And I'm like, nope. They said, do you know where you are? And I said, yeah, I'm at the airport. They said, what are you doing at the airport? I said, I'm going on vacation. And honestly, I can't tell you if I said that because I wasn't fully aware of it. That's just my sense of humor, and it just came out. But I can remember it. I can remember what I said.
Gotcha. Wow.
And then, and about 20 minutes after that, I know you've had Antoine on your podcast.
Sure.
Before Antoine Craig. Yeah. So he was competing on the other team, and he was driving down, and I was defending. And he and I are about the same height. And my forehead hit his mouth at full speed. So, which was concussion number 2 for me and busted lips for Antoine. So,
wow. It's not for the faint of heart, right?
No.
A lot of these sports, beat baseball too. I know I dislocated my shoulder and was in the ER having to have it pop back in. So,
yeah.
But it's, hey, we love it so much that, in a lot of cases, we're going to just move, dust ourselves off and do what it takes, heal up and get back out there, right?
100%.
No doubt. Yep. So any other sports, goalball, tennis, hockey, any other blind sports that you've tried or have an interest in trying?
No, I am curious about tennis. I have not looked into it to see how that's played. I don't know that I want to play. I'm just curious how it is played. I've never been good on skates, like ice skates. So hockey sounds like that would just be a permanent ER visit where I leave in a wheelchair, never to walk again, kind of thing. But I mean, okay, honestly, look, I'm 55 years old. Do I feel like I could still play blind soccer? 100%. Do I feel like I could still hang with some of the best of them? Absolutely, because I'm hard-headed and stubborn like that. Beat baseball? No problem. Would I run through a brick wall to play that game? Absolutely. Should I be playing blind sports at the age of 55? Probably not, because I still have people that count on me and that I'm, responsible for. So
Sure, no doubt. Although I've had folks in their 70s, still doing marathons, and it's unusual, but
I know.
yeah,
And I get that. I get it
for sure.
so much. So I will never give anybody grief for playing sports when they're older. I'll just be like, I give them a high five and be like, that's right, man. That's right.
No doubt. Yo, you got to be honest with yourself, and context, perspective, so important. Yo.
Yeah. Not to say I couldn't end up in a coaching position again with, blind sports at some point in my life. I got nothing on the books, but I'll never say never.
Sure. I am curious, just looking ahead to 2028, obviously we're at the men's national blind soccer team is going to be in the Paralympics for the first time. Any thoughts on that? Just how excited are you to finally see that happen here in this country?
Well, no, I think it's great. What a beautiful opportunity. Thank God it's here. So that gives them an automatic bid because it takes the pressure off. It's not that they couldn't make the rounds to be able to compete, but we're all brand new. And the guys that are out there playing are new to blind soccer. They're going to be competing against countries who have been doing this forever. Just the fact that they have the courage to take the pitch against those teams, you get a gold medal from me right there.
Agreed. No doubt. Yeah, it's gonna be thrilling to see that happen. Awesome. All right. So before we wrap up here, any kind of contact info you want to give out? Do you want to mention maybe your social media handles again for folks?
TikTok is Mr.BlueSkies1, the number one. YouTube is Mr. Blue Skies Music. And then TikTok is Mr. Blue Skies 1.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep.
Like I mentioned, there's a whole lot of nonsense and jokes about being a blind parent and a blind husband and all that good stuff. And so there's a blind perspective I do. I won't tell you the whole thing, but it was one of these moments that you just don't think about. So I have, my oldest is 28. My youngest will turn 13 in August. So pretty good spread of kids. So my 13-year-old has never seen me drive a car because I quit driving long before she was ever born. So one day we go out and her grandfather's with us and I hop in the passenger seat like I always do. And her grandfather gets in the driver's seat and then she's in the back seat with her older sister. And she looks up at her grandfather and goes, "Papa, what are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm driving." She goes, "But Papa, boys don't drive."
Wow.
And I was like, yep. Because as far as she knew, boys didn't drive. Only the girls drove.
Right. That's funny. Gotta love stuff like that and those moments, that stick in our mind, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, again, we've been chatting with Mark Slavin here on Eyes Free Sports, and Mark, really appreciate the time. This was so much fun. You're a very entertaining guy, very smart guy. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity, Greg. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. To hear more episodes of the Eyes Free Sports podcast and to subscribe, search for Eyes Free Sports on your favorite podcast platform or visit eyesfreesports.com. Be sure to follow the Eyes Free Sports podcast at facebook.com/eyesfreesports and on Twitter at Eyes Free Sports.